Harry Enten talking about Chuck Schumer.
Democrats nationwide feeling about Chuck Schumer. I think the word of the day is terrible, 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 terrible. To quote another Charles Barkley when it.
Oh, no, don't clap that guy. He said, "You know, I hear words, but all I see is a man living in his own delusions of grandeur and trying to pass it off to someone that lacks brain cells. Also, you never compare to Mark and Henry." What?
Comes to Chuck Schumer. Look at this. Least popular Dem Senate leader ever. I looked at all of the polls going all the way back since 1985. The one who has the lowest rating among Democrats is, in fact, Chuck Schumer. Look at this. He's underwater with Democrats. His own party, he's underwater. He's at -4 points. That makes him the least popular guy for a Dem Senate leader going all the way back since the mid-1980s at least.
Do you have a sense of why?
Why? It's because Democrats, they want a fighter. They want a fighter. That's why. Take a look here.
Like, this is the most basic argument that I have pushed for years now. And people said I was a spoiler, and they said that I was wrong for saying this. But this is what I've been fucking saying for years, and we have finally arrived at a place where the base is also demanding it loudly and proudly. And the Democrats are so weak at this moment that the establishment is completely unable to deal with this level of pushback from their own voters. They are completely incapable of casting aside the wishes of the liberal base of support. I have a theory that the average American is much more progressive, much more open-minded, much more left curious than we give them credit for. Okay? I believe this in my heart. I believe this entirely. I believe this sincerely. But it is upon us to help them unlock that class consciousness, to guide them to the water of socialism. And I will exhaust all readily available options to do so until the time comes when there is a robust, self-identifying working class in this country. And I don't even think that it's just the Americans that are like this. I think every human being is like this. It's just that they have been effectively shut out from ever entertaining the notion that there is any sort of left alternative, any sort of socialist alternative. Okay? That's it.
Dems in Congress do too little to oppose Trump. During the first term, it was just 46% in 2017. That's the percentage of Democrats who said that the Dems.
Not saying you're doing social fascism or that the vanguard is ready, but the opportunity to build a third party with the average American right now than any other point in history. And I don't understand why we need the Democratic establishment anymore. No, you disagree vehemently and still appreciate your work. Great question. This is one that I actually talk about quite a bit. The reason why I say this is because beyond the demands that Americans have currently, right, of the Democratic Party, most Americans are antagonistic towards socialism and Marxism because they've been heavily propagandized against it. So in order to reach the masses, you have to work within the mass movement of liberalism, okay? You have to at least like start tackling the antagonistic, the automatic antagonism that the word socialism holds. That's why I say we're not there yet as far as like the viability of building a third party. I see the weakness of the Democratic Party as presenting an option because we don't have any recent history of successful socialist mobilization in this country. Recent history, I say, right? People do not think that this is a good thing still. They're heavily propagandized against it. So you have to work within the existing confines. This is not to say that there is no reason or that it's a bad thing to develop a viable third party. There might be a time when that will become a necessity because the Democratic Party has always been a liberal bourgeois party. I'm not opposed. That time is now is what a lot of people say. This is where we disagree, I think, because I don't see, and maybe it's because I'm too cynical, but I do not see, as it stands, a capacity to build a mass movement until you break the dam of Red Scare propaganda in this country. And the best possible way to do that, the way I see it, is by using the election machine, the turnout machine that already exists, that is still being controlled by liberal capitalist Democrats that are still trying to cling on to the levers of power within this party, but because they're so weak and so feeble and so old that their grasp upon it is weakening. So I don't think that there is any reason not to entertain a third party. It's just that as it stands currently, like a lot of people say Zoran is the proof of what I'm saying. If you think that Zoran Mamdani as an independent socialist candidate would have been able to reach this level of success, I'm sorry, but you're not paying close attention to how elections work. And it's understandable because elections have failed you. So over the years, through the decades, you have grown more and more pessimistic about the two-party system in its entirety. And I am there as well. But Zoran Mamdani, in spite of his charisma, in spite of his turnout machine, would not have won as an independent socialist in New York City. And there's still much work to be done because then he also needs to deliver on his agenda to show Americans paying attention, and maybe even everyone around the world is paying close attention to this race and the outcome of this race, that a better future is possible. But yeah, here is where the Democrats are still.
Congress are doing too little to oppose Donald Trump. Look at where we are now, 69%. That is an increase of, get this, 23 points. The super duper majority of Democrats believe that the Democrats in Congress are not doing enough to oppose Donald Trump. And that, of course, is a big, huge criticism of Chuck Schumer. And that is why he is underwater.
I knew you were going to do the dip. All right.
I always do the dip. I need my exercise in the morning.
There has been talks of a challenge to Schumer. What are you saying on that front?
What's next after the news today? After the news is done, we're going to go back to Tiananmen Square, and we're going to go to the Forbidden City, which is also very exciting.
Who looks like they're in place to do it?
Okay, so you see this opening slide here, and you see, of course, that Chuck Schumer is underwater with Democrats nationally. But of course, the ultimate way to get Chuck Schumer out of
how do you expect to awaken class consciousness and unite the working class when you're openly hosted to political activism with people who largely already share your worldview? Why can't we unite under a shared ideology and accept that we have separate roles to play in awakening people to depravity, the uniparty? I agree with you. I do agree with you. I don't know where this confusion is coming from.
Is to beat him in New York State. So how do New York State Democrats feel about Chuck Schumer? And take a look here, the net favorable among New York Democrats. Chuck Schumer is above water with the Democrats in his home state, but just by 16 points. Look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez running way ahead. If she decides to challenge Chuck Schumer and come 2028, she's got a real leg up on the competition. I dare say at this point she would be the favorite to beat him, which would be something that would just blow my mind, even just a few years ago, given that Chuck Schumer, of course, is a New York born and bred type of guy.
Yeah, those are incredible.
Look at that, 30 points ahead. My goodness gracious.
That's a lot. All right, Harry Enten, you're always 100% ahead of the curve.
I
do.
What is Hasan's take on Fetterman? Monster, ogre, horrible, just awful.